240 pounds in high school, you know, and he's put on all the weight. I mean, what did you guys see in him to say this guy can still, you know, line up against Alabama wide receivers and get the job done?
Well, you know, when he came to our camp, he performed at a high level, and you know, first and foremost, you know, we look to see how smart a kid is, and as far as his instincts, you know, he competed at a very high level. Went against some kids that were highly recruited, and really did a nice job. And we loved his athleticism. You know, when you play in a secondary, you got to be an athletic, you know, player. And we're a guy that can you know, run very well, but also be able to play the ball in the air and have great body control, and do a nice job of understanding what offenses are trying to do. And I think that you know, him playing both sides of the ball, every one of our guys that we recruited in the secondary, which we like to recruit, we talk about the number one thing is athleticism, being able to do many things, and that's what we saw in him, and just like the other guys.
When you learn more about him and you see that offer list is in all these huge schools like Tennessee, were you a bit surprised that not as many schools are on this guy?
Again, I think that happens a lot in recruiting. It's not an exact science, and it happens across the nation. It's happened to each and every one of these guys at different staffs. You know, there's so many really good players. I think we get all caught up in a list, and everybody that gets pushed out front, you know, of being a really good player, and everybody kind of knows those guys, and everybody kind of, you know, puts that focus on all those guys. But there's a lot of really good players, and you see it across the nation where you got guys going to different schools and weren't highly recruited, and you know, the development of a player too. I mean, recruiting is happening so quick that, you know, you have to recruit these kids so early that, you know, some of these guys that haven't developed yet, I mean, they're 16, 17 years old, and you see it year in, year out. We're seeing it right now, and there's a lot of really good players that have not committed to us, you know, that we think are pretty good, and you start to have second thoughts because, again, they're developing and they're young.
Did you tell these guys are pumped about tomorrow? And there's going to be a lot of competition out there.
Yeah, I think that we've approached everything, you know, one day at a time. You know, we focused on today. We did some good things, but we also did some poorly execution, and we've got to improve on that. And I think that we've done a good job of just trying to focus on one day at a time, basically one period at a time, one rep at a time, and that's really been our main focus because we have a young group. And trying to keep them in the moment has been our focus, and I think for the most part they're doing a good job with that.
You mentioned the first time we visited with you that you were pleased that they could line up, that, you know, that they knew enough as young guys to line up. What kind of steps have they taken since we talked last week to where they are now that you like beyond just the simple knowledge?
Yeah, I think that, again, there's inconsistency, and we know that that's going to happen. But the thing that you know, that we've been impressed with is that they've been grinding it. You know, they haven't really taken a step back, and they're highly competitive, and that's really all you can ask for. And they know that it's a work in progress, and I think that as long as they have a great attitude, which they do, you know, they're going to get better with reps, and that's really the thing that we've been trying to stress, how important to take care of their bodies, to eat properly, to hydrate, so they don't miss reps out there because they're not in the proper condition or to prevent injuries.
What about a guy like Malik Foreman? He did some good things early as a freshman, and I guess maybe hit the wall. He said inconsistency really mentally last year hurt him to get back on the field second half of the season. What do you see out of him this camp?
I think Malik's done a nice job coming back to camp. He was in the best shape of his life. We can see that. He made some strides in the off season, and his knowledge, you know, with our defense has improved tremendously. He understands it better. You know, he still has, you know, a lot of room to improve, and he knows that. But you know, he's made some plays this fall camp where he wasn't making last year, and that's good to see because, again, he's one of those players that has a lot of athleticism, a guy that's accustomed to having the ball in his hands, and so he has a pretty good instincts about trying to find the ball and where it's at.
Everybody wants to know, you know, does tomorrow night determine, you know, pecking order? Does it determine ones and twos? You talked about the single day approach. What do you take from tomorrow night? how much does it change kind of the evaluation of lineup and order and kind of starting to sort that part out?
Well, you know, there's still many practices to go here to our first ball game, and having young players, you know, that you know, you're thinking that they're going to improve each and every day once they feel more comfortable in what they're doing. You know, tomorrow night it gives us an opportunity to step back, pull away, let them go ahead and play. Not a lot of coaches on the field, just more like game-like situations from a standpoint of, you know, let them play and see what they do and how they handle it. And that's the thing that, you know, we're going to, you know, look forward to seeing and see how they operate.
Kim Sutton started all 12 games last year for you. What does a freshman need to do to earn your confidence to get that playing time?
Consistency. You know, we've got to be able to trust them, that they understand our defense and the understanding of it, and all the things that are important. You know, from the back end, you know, the assignment, you know, playing with great leverage and being able to tackle in space. And as I said earlier, you had to have some athleticism too, as far as making some playmaking. You know, be a game changer, like we talk about a lot, and that's what Cam was able to do right when he stepped into the starting lineup. And Emmanuel's been able to do that from spring, and he's continued that in the fall camp. But there's some inconsistencies he's got to clean up. Devon Swafford's done a nice job, and Brian Randolph and Coleman. That first group, you know, we're just trying to develop depth. That's the big thing, is trying to get some depth where we can get some guys that on the second and third groups to give us some really quality, you know, playing time.
Speaking of Cam Sutton, what have you seen from last fall camp to this fall camp? How much progress has he made for you?
He's made tremendous progress. There's things that obviously we talked about as far as his physicality, playing better with his hands. You know, his playmaking with the ball in the air is still outstanding. He's improved that. He's got a lot more confidence. He's leading. You know, last year's a little bit quieter, really just more of a follower. But now he's coaching up the young players, the first year players, and he's doing a really good job in our meetings. And it's important to him. Every phase of our program, he's dialed in, and that's only going to help us improve in the back end and the entire team, because you know, he's got teammates that really believe in him, and obviously he's got to continue to step up.
As just a sophomore, do you think that leadership's tough for him with just the guys being just 1 year younger than him, or is he embracing it and acting more like a senior?
You know, I think players, you know, earn respect from players because of their playmaking ability and their consistency, and I think he's earned that. Not that he's arrived by any means, and he knows that. And I think his attitude that he takes each and every day, as far as practice, from the first period on throughout the you know, the last period, he's always focusing. He's always taking it one play at a time, so to speak, and he doesn't get ahead of himself. He stays in the moment, and I think that's where, you know, Cam does a really good job of and that's why you see consistency in his game.
Did you approach him and say, hey, you're going to be looked at as a leader, or did he just step up with that?
Yeah, he stepped up. He knows that, and again, Cam's very smart. He understands the moment. He understands where he's at in this program, and he knows that we're expecting a lot from him. He expects a lot more of himself than we expect of him. Trust me. So he's got great pride in doing things right.
A couple of things on Mosley. He's almost all of his teammates said something about him when they've been out here talking to the media. Yes. Sorry. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. What does that say that he's impressed his teammates, not just the coaches?
Again, like I just said a little while ago, that players, they know who a player is, and they know how a player acts, and he's earned tremendous respect from his teammates, because everything that Emmanuel does is full speed and with a great attitude. And he may not know everything, you know, but he takes a lot of pride. He performs at the high, you know, when the situation where you have to make a play and you got to come through and produce. He seems to always do that. He may not look pretty. He may not have the proper footwork or back pedal, but he's got great instincts, and he loves to play the game. He plays it with a lot of energy, and he's a great teammate.